Let's come back to France now. And former President Nicolas Sarkozy is in court again this Monday to appeal a conviction for criminal conspiracy. He was sentenced to 5 years in jail last year over attempts to procure campaign funds from the late Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi. Sarkozy has always denied the charges. Well, our Camille Knight is at that courthouse in Paris, and let's bring her in now live. Camille, what's happening there now?
Hi, Jeannie. Like you say, former President Nicolas Sarkozy is back in court. He walked into the courtroom behind me just over an hour ago. With quite a confident look on his face, greeted the policemen who were there one by one and his co-conspirators before sitting down on a very small desk on the front row right in front of the presiding judge. He'll be sitting there for the next few months, these few months that will determine whether or not he returns to jail and for how long. Now, the stakes are particularly high because all of the charges are being re-examined. You'll remember he was only convicted of criminal conspiracy last year. He was acquitted of illegal financing of his campaign, of passive corruption, and of concealing misuse public funds. Now, the court goes back to square one and starts from scratch and re-examines all of that evidence to establish whether or not there was a corruption pact between Nicolas Sarkozy and the late Libyan dictator Muammar Gaddafi. If he were to be found guilty for all of those 4 charges, he could risk up to 10 years behind bars. That verdict will get on the 30th of November.
So, Camille, this is a trial, obviously, concerning a former French president. We've seen other French politicians on trial before. Why is this one so captivating?
I mean, this has been a fascinating trial for so many reasons. I mean, for starters, just the severity of the accusations against the former president, kind of the idea that he could have been seeking money from a foreign leader in order and in exchange giving him some diplomatic favors. There's even talk of him, potentially engaging in talks to even pardon Gaddafi's brother-in-law, who's responsible for downing a flight that killed 170 people, including more than 50 French people. So these are really, really serious accusations, and it's very unprecedented in France. And that for a former president. There's also just the fact that there's been so many twists and turns to this story. I mean, it would make an absolutely incredible, true crime series. You had stories of suitcases full of cash, of secret meetings in Tripoli. You had kind of witnesses that have died throughout this trial. All of these things that make for a really fascinating story. And of course, this trial has really polarized the country as well. Sarkozy has maintained his innocence throughout, like you said. And he's really got a sort of army of supporters that accuse the judiciary of having a vendetta against Sarkozy. So a lot of observers have said that this is also a test for France's judicial system to see if it can withstand that political pressure.